Welcome to Toffee TV. This is the Tuesday topic, but it's a bit of a mad one this week because we've got Dr. David France, the man in black. Anyone watching Westworld will know that. And we've got Ronny Goodlass with us as well. It's only me, so if you don't hear me speak for about 25 minutes, that's why, because I'm outnumbered. We're just going to have a little chat about the season so far and the future ahead. David, you're going back to Arizona in about 3 days into the sunshine.
I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
How have you been coping with the cold?
Well, I was at Southport last night, and I tell you, there's a horizontal rain coming through Southport at Hague Avenue. I was sheltered on one side by Duncan and Joe Royal on the other, and it must have been less than zero, below zero.
That's like being on one side, Snowdonia and the Pennines, that.
It was two big people, and Joe kept on saying to me, wonder what the temperature is in Arizona, because it was freezing. But it was a smashing game. The lads did really well, convincing victory.
Let me have a guess. Who stood out?
There was a fella with funny hair in the middle of the park, and he looked like a footballer. No. He did his part at the weekend. No, he was outstanding. And I say, when I'm saying outstanding, there were some excellent young lads out there. He was 2 levels above that. He looked like a player. He had the maturity. He controlled the whole game. I think David Unsworth, after the game, verified that. That lad's ready.
Yeah.
He's ready for the first team. I mean, Ronny will have said the same. I saw Colin Harvey when he was a kid, and he was ready. Yeah. He knew at 18, Colin was ready. You know, I saw him ball when he was young.
Yeah.
You know when they're ready. Davis is ready. There's no doubts about it. It's too good for the league he's playing in now. I'll tell you that. Now, I think, how else does he get a chance if you don't blood him in the first team?
Well, you sink or swim. I was, you know, we looked at the Norwich game last year. He was excellent. I mean, okay, Norwich is not Man United or whoever, but you could see it in him. And as David said, you've seen it this season. You know, the kid has got a body of like a 26-year-old. You know, physical side, no problem for him, but he's got vision, everything about him. And again, he can't do any worse. No, seriously.
The new Ron.
Yeah, well, I'll name names shortly.
Go on.
But you sort of look at it, you just think again, you know, I've always said about the kids, you know, as you coach, when Joe was there, Joe loves playing the kids. And again, you sink or swim. If you're not good enough, you get moved on, or you do start playing, as you said, like a Colin Harvey or an Alan Ball. Well, Howard Kendall was the same, you know, 17.
Who would he replace at the moment? Who would he replace?
Well, I think with legs, I mean, it'll just depend on where you're going to play him. I mean, if it's going to be, Odessa Gay and him, obviously Barry. You know, Barry, the last couple of games hasn't been doing it, obviously, but he's fantastic the way he's been playing. But all of a sudden, I keep saying about managers get paid $6 million a season, you know, which our fella does, to make big decisions. You know, you don't have to keep everyone happy, the crowd, the players, but it's got to be the best for Everton Football Club. And I just think you stop the likes of Tom Davis kicking on. You know, the time is right, and I'm like yourself, I'd play him, no two ways about it. The only thing is, if he doesn't play on Saturday, you're throwing him in against Arsenal, which is going to be doubly worse than we're going to get out of Watford, obviously. You know, we hope it's a win. But I just think he could have done it maybe a couple of weeks ago.
The Swansea game for
me
was
well, exactly. You know, when we wasn't playing well, and it proved it on the day. You know, we wasn't good enough to beat Swansea. So again, you know, sort of the creativity is not there. I keep thinking we look a little imbalanced. And Manchester United, David, to be quite honest with you, it was one of the worst teams I've seen, Man United, for a long, long time. You know, the last 3 seasons they've been coming to Goodison, and we've got to start beating teams like that. You know, I know it's a job in progress, but we keep saying, you've got to start beating top teams, or the so-called top 4. And it was an ideal opportunity to beat them, getting a great frame of mind to go to Watford. But now we're going there a little bit apprehensive. We've got Arsenal and Liverpool. Doesn't matter what stage of the season you play them to, it's going to be hard. And then what you do then, you shuffle the pack again. You wait until January, which with me, Ped and Baz, well, a long time ago, we said the squad's not good enough, and it's proving it. And it's catching up on us. And if we don't start picking points up, by the time you get to January, it's going to be doubly hard to attract players because of the position we'll be in.
We obviously did the season preview, didn't we? And that was one of your things, Ron.
Yeah.
You said
you've got that on tape.
We have, David. You said give him a little bit of a chance, and I understand why. But that I think that's caught us up massively because I think we look short in a lot of areas. I mean, that's not being negative, but that should give a chance to those kids for me.
Well, we had a bad pre-season. The whole transfer situation was poor, and we've not taken advantage of the lads now, of the young lads. Now, can I just say about Tom Davies, what he has that when you see what the first team doesn't have, he has confidence, and he has. He looks like he's enjoying himself.
He's got a swagger.
Yeah, a swagger I always think of as Wayne or Ross. Yeah. They've got a swagger. Yeah. And maybe that is what it is. But he's got something about him. His movement is top class. It's going to be
I jokingly said against Norwich, not just because of his hair, but he was like Gunter Netzer. But it's the way the ball gets played into him and he's side on and he can turn, he knows when to knock it off, he knows when to pass early. And that's the sign of a good player. The way you always say, top players, your Messi, your Ronaldo's, will always find space. And the thing with him, for such a young kid, I mean, forget age, we go on about Barry at a certain age. He's still getting a game. And it's the same, the opposite way around. If you're young enough, but you're good enough.
You have to look at Michael Carrick on Sunday.
Exactly. He's the difference, Ped. He's the difference that Man United have started picking up. And it's just, again, I just think that the imbalances for the team, we're not balanced. And I keep saying over Lukaku, maybe he can work harder, we all know that. But he's still living off scraps. Yeah. I think, the Balassi injury is horrendous. And when you're looking at Deulofeu, and I said Morales was a bit better on Sunday, he's shown in flashes what he's capable of. But Deulofeu has been a massive disappointment for me. He looks like he's just come on and he's breathing out of every orifice he's got. And I just can't believe it. And I'm looking at him thinking, have you been out with Oliver Reed the night before? I just can't get my head around it. And he keeps saying, I work hard and do this. Well, I'm looking at him, I can't see it. And I just think, again, he's holding other people back. But because we're so thin with the squad for wide players, Lennon never had a look in. And when he has had, he hasn't done it, he hasn't took the opportunity. So you start looking at, again around the squad, and I think the kids are crying out for the game.
Yeah, I think the most important thing to happen in the next transfer window is the culling of the team, is getting rid of some of these people. And making space for these lads.
Yeah.
So he has to play some of these lads. He has to expose them. Can we start at the beginning with the goalkeeper?
But the problem.
Let me just say, we said last time, to win anything, you have to have a good goalkeeper, a top class goalkeeper. And I can say, as of the weekend, we don't have one.
No.
I mean, what I saw, you would see normally at the, in a Sunday football, wouldn't you? Somebody come rushing out like that.
Or at Bournemouth.
Yeah. But it's not the sign of confidence, and it's not the sign of an experienced footballer. You just don't.
Well, it's
something judgment is.
Yeah, but it's a panic station, and I mean, when you see the defender running back with him, Ibrahimovic, he's made his mind up. As soon as the ball bounced, don't come. As soon as you start to come, you went, he's going to lob you. So as soon as he lobs you, we never had to look, obviously, when it hit the bar. But I just thought to myself, there's too many mistakes creeping in now with him. We jokingly said off air over with Ped, the worst thing happened was saving a couple of penalties. Yeah. But he did make good saves. I'm not saying that, but it's just the last few weeks. That's why he wasn't, top drawer at Fulham and these places. And again, he's come to us, he's helped us out. He jumped ahead of Robles, and I think we need two goalkeepers, and it's going to be a problem. And when you get to January and we're not in good form, we've got Leicester, on Boxing Day, and there's a lot of hard fixtures. Will players want to come in January? They'll sit back. Let's see what they're like, see what they're doing. So Ronald Koeman's going to find it difficult. I really do. And I just think, when you said about a cull, I was looking at some of the numbers the other day and just going through names, and I got up to 12, and I stopped myself. I thought at the end of the season, it's going to be incredible. And whether you can get them out with the wages they're on and just players want to move, it's going to be a massive overall.
There's players who need to leave that are not even in the club. Like there's players like McGibbon that we need to get off the wages.
I have to tell you, this pre-season, on the day that John Stones left, I was at Finch Farm, going to see someone at Finch Farm, and there was a lot of talk about Stones leaving. He was saying his goodbye, and it's Finch Farm. The doors are confusing. They are for an Irishman because they say push and pull. So I'm there trying to get in the door, and he's pulling and I'm pushing, and whatever. And of course it's McGeady, and he opened the door eventually. He looked at me and I laughed, and I said to him, "Are you still here?"
Well, that's why we stood here, because he couldn't open the door to get out.
There's people like him. There's people like Darren Gibson. There's people who know in.
Well, let's start at the full backs then. We've got the goalkeepers. Neither of them are top class.
I still think Joe Robles is a number two.
Backup, yeah.
Is a number two. Yeah. I'll give him that. And I think he's a decent number two, but he's not a number one. So we definitely need a top class goalkeeper. And if Hart becomes available, or whether he sponsors the kid at Southampton, then maybe that's what he wants. I don't know.
How about the lad at Burnley?
Yeah, I like him. And his mate, Keane. I'll have both of them.
Yeah.
I think Keane's brilliant, and I think he's the right age, so I'd have both of them. But
I think that's the type of domestic footballers that we should be looking at. Someone who understands what Everton is and what it means to play for Everton, not someone who's just coming, to make a few bob.
Well, I think what Ped said with Robles, he's used to the club, he's used to the Premier League with Wigan. And again, he can mature because keepers obviously, later, but definitely need a top drawer goalkeeper.
Yeah, right.
You're saying over full-backs, I don't think Oviedo's up there.
I'm on the right-hand
side.
Sorry,
on the right-hand side. Oh my God, pulling doors and pushing doors. Now he's left them right.
Let's just go here with Seamus.
Go on.
For me, he's not been at his level this season or last season. But when he puts the Irish shirt on,
he's smashing.
He's
different player.
When he put the captain's armband on,
maybe that's what it is. But he hasn't been up there. I know the fans are starting to get without being I don't want to say anything bad, but when Holgate came on Sunday, he was fantastic.
And he's another one.
Would you take the money for Coleman if United came in and offered the money?
If it was big enough, I would.
How much is big enough?
Well, 15 million.
All right, move on then. Mason Holgate's we know him, don't we? Personally,
he's very
top class lad.
Very good lad. I think everything about him is what you want in a professional footballer, and I think at a young age he's so mature. And as you've said, came on. And just like every time, never lets the team down.
Is he a full-back or a centre-back?
No, he'll end up a centre-back, without a shadow of a doubt. But full-back, he can do it, Pet. Yeah. I mean, we keep saying, there's a problem at there now. Murray looks rusty. You've got Jags as nowhere near the standard that he was. And then you've got Williams is getting sucked in. He's not as good as when he first came to the club.
He's been my disappointment of the season so far.
Williams.
Not because his marking sometimes is lazy. How can I say that? He's not marking plays and he's exposed, but he's not provided this leadership that I expected from him. That's we talked about that before. There's no leadership.
Is that because I would have done this on Sunday? Should the manager give him the captain's armband and say, "You're our captain now"?
Of course he should.
And get on with it.
Of course,
because I don't think Barry would be bothered.
I thought that's why we brought him in to be a leader on the pitch.
Yeah, but similar with Barry. Barry's a little bit like, he was more aggressive, but waggy Dave Watson. You get certain captains that lead by example, and others, you're not shouting every 2 minutes. Now the thing with Barry, he'll just carry on anyway. He had a front up, a little battle. Do that, but I'm like yourself. Give it to Williams and say, you're the fella now. So you'll have two leaders then, because we're still lacking. It's incredible.
So what
over leaders on the park.
What are you going to do about Jags and about the Argentinians?
Well, Jags, I think again with the age. I mean, Murray for me. I mean, you can head balls. His passing is absolutely atrocious. And when you've got Williams now, I think why I said he was getting sucked in the way they're playing. I think he thinks he's Ruud Krol now, and because the others, aren't a good passer of the ball. I mean, Williams at Swansea used to have the most touches, good passer of the ball, but they were like exercises on Sunday, and I was thinking, it's not happening. But because the midfield aren't doing it, you can't just pop it into midfield, turn, get on with it, and that's the problem. That's why I keep saying we're not balanced, and people, don't want the ball, and I think that's the problem where they're thinking, I'll stay out the way.
So let's go back to the culling of this then.
Are we right or left now?
No, we're still in the middle. Are we getting rid of Murray then?
I think
because he's saleable.
I'm waiting for Barca to come back.
No, but like anything, David, in an ideal world, honestly, we'll sit here and we could get rid of most of them. But it's not going to happen. So you've got to say, well, hang on. But the priorities are maybe 5, 6 that you think get them out the club and we need replacing. Now Murray, because of his age, because he's physically aggressive and that. Out of those three, is Jags going to be... He's not going to be long-term, is he? Obviously with his age. No. Williams is the wrong side of 30, or getting to it. So we're like an ageing squad. And when you look around, you've got to turn and say, how do you replace Barry? I mean, I think he's been a great signing since he's been at the club. But you're all the brick wall. And I think slowly now, Jags is...
We're a squad, though, that where the expectation was instant success, over 2 years success. I don't think they planned for beyond 2 or 3 years, beyond the current term. We're supposed to be happening now, and that's what we're going to be stuck with. We're going to be stuck with 34-year-olds. Who are slow and have lost.
Well, you start bringing the age down, but all of a sudden, because you want to make it, instantly, successful and good. As I say, you start getting rid of maybe the experienced players too quick. But I think he's got to look for January. We need definitely just to brighten the place up and keep it going to the end of the season, because we've got Leicester 2 games in 2 weeks. And you know what Everton are like? If they haven't won and have done how many games, or the striker hasn't scored, Vardy's had a terrible time, Mahrez has. We've got to play them in the league on Boxing Day, which is at our place, which I think that'll suit them because the pressure will be on us. And then the FA Cup. So I think we've really got to turn it around. But I just think, one of the statements Koeman made the other week was a bit disappointed with it over the kids. They're all not ready. Well, that's about 6 or 7 kids, could potentially be in the squad that you've took out the equation. Bolassi's injured. You've got a lot of players off form. Your Morales, especially your Delafeu. I mean, Delafeu...
Let's just... You're getting ahead.
Oh, sorry about it again. So we're not back to left back yet, are we? So we're still on centre halves.
Right. Well, I would get... If a bid came in for Coleman, I would.
So you take 15 million?
Oh, yeah.
Put that down.
Yeah. But for me... And I would take... and I'd let Murray go.
Yeah, I'd let Murray go. But for me,
I'd find replacements. Don't get me wrong. That's what we're hunting for. No, that's what we're hunting for.
But as you said with the Seamus one, Aldgate's already there. And then you'll someone you'll have, you obviously get something for Murray, but that money has got to be invested in quickly.
Yes, of course.
Would there not be an argument though that you could play Holgate next to Ashley Williams and leave Seamus, and have a young centre half next to an older centre half, and him laying off him, because you're almost throwing the baby out with the back.
But you know what the problem is as well with the full-backs and the formations, and usually when he was at Southampton, he liked to play 3 at the back, and then if you've got Baines and Coleman playing well, it looks the part, but they're not. And the hard part is the 2 front players, wide players. Your Blassie was the best of a bad bunch. He assists, was fantastic, the most of all of them. But Morales has been really disappointing myself.
You're off again.
No, I'll come back. I will come back.
We should track back
just have a bit of patience, David.
I'm doing my best. Go on.
But that affects the 2 fullbacks. Because if you've got them bombing on, that's where Seamus doesn't know at times whether he's a winger, whether I'm a fullback, where's the fella in front of me helping me? And it's like the charge of the right brigade. They don't know what's happening.
Let's go back.
But that's down to the manager.
Jags is gone.
Well, I just wonder if he isn't the one that should stay around, because is it...
So you'd have Jags and you let Jags go?
I would
let Murray go and you'd let Murray go?
I would let Jags go in the summer.
I think we'll end up bringing Lindsay back, because we'll have no centre half.
Well, we're supposed to be spending 40 million.
Are we?
Are we?
We'll go for that.
Well, that'll get us 1.5 players.
Fella from Southampton, aren't we? We're supposed to be spending this kind of money.
I'd have Van Dijk all day long. But Fonte's getting shouted. But I keep saying about ages. If you said to me, you've got to have Fonte for the next 4 years, what's his age got to do with it? You just go, he's a European Championship winner. Of course he is. Done it against Everton. The pair of them, had the slippers and pipe out and no problem.
Let's move over.
So either of them will do.
Let's move over to the left then. We've got Oviedo and we've got Leighton. And let me just remind you, Leighton's one of us.
No, well, Leighton,
and he's special.
Baines was great on Sunday. I thought he had the best game for a while on Sunday. But Oviedo's not good.
No, Oviedo, no.
He's not good.
Definitely lovely lad, but aren't we all? But Oviedo,
what happened to Galloway? Is he?
Well, he's supposed to be coming back, isn't he? The talk is he's coming back in January.
In January.
West Brom don't necessarily want. So he's one. He could come back. He could. I see the other one. It's garbage. The other one. I went to Wolfsburg.
Is he still with us?
He's at Wigan on loan.
Nice Wigan loan.
So I remember when he went. I've said this loads. I went to Wolfsburg and he played against Wolfsburg. Apparently one of the best teams in Europe at the time, and he had a brilliant game. He looked like Baines light. Signed a 5-year contract. Let him go to Fulham. He broke his leg, and he's drifted off. He's like, as you talking about, like with Tom Davies, you only get that small window, and it's almost like he's gone past it.
No, but similar with Koeman, does he really fancy the kids? Moisey never. You ask Sheeds, and the old thing about it, you'll get certain managers. Joe was totally the opposite. Joe used to say to me every week, "Who's ready?" And that for me is a manager. Now if they're not, and he can look at it himself, but you look at the garbage and all that. I think with Oviedo, international, Bainesy, Koeman's thought, that's good enough. So you've got Gallagher goes to West Brom, You know, Pulis has had a fell out or doesn't fancy him. But there's a kid's done great for us.
Yeah.
You know, could have been there. So I'd have Gallagher before Oviedo because he's a better defender, and I think getting forward eventually, because I think that's with West Brom, we've done well going forward, but that's not in Pulis' his game. Yeah. And I think a few times he's fell out with it.
But really, he's a left-sided centre-back.
Yeah, well, he's another one. He's like Holgate. I mean, so eventually...
You can have Holgate in him.
But you can have them two there, is right. So go on, midfield.
Well, let's call it...
Is it right midfield or left?
Loosely midfield, isn't it? Well, I mean, our midfield...
Centre midfield.
Our midfield's a mess. I have to say, isn't it? It's a disaster. For a club that's always boasted great midfielders, I mean, some of the best in the history of the British game, what we've got now is a shambles.
Well, I never seen Sky, seen Ozzy after the game. As you know, he came to our dinner and I used to coach Ozzy, but Ozzy, the same. What's going on, Ronny? And when you're in that position, that's what we were saying, you know, sort of plays you'd expect, and then you look at it, and as I say, you know, Man United was nothing on Sunday. I thought to myself, if we'd have come out and was really disappointed...
Southampton weren't anything either, really.
Well, you sort of look at teams, Ped, you know, you've got teams that have beat us, and then got the following week, Swansea get took for 5 at Tottenham, could have been 10.
Yeah.
And then, you know, even Bournemouth against Liverpool. Yeah. You know, Liverpool, you can't afford to, because you've had a go at them. And I thought we'd have a right go at Man United. I really did. The crowd are always up for it against Man United. But again, it was, you know, sort of slow build up. And I didn't think we grasped it, to be honest.
Is that, if I'm going to pick one player, obviously not available, someone like, there's no Mo Besic. Now, whatever you think about Mo Besic as a player, at least you know what you're going to get. I mean, he came on against Spurs at the beginning of the season, you know, beginning of the year, and we're getting beat 1-0, I think, and he started.
Well, he runs and tackles and
hitting people, and the crowd lifts.
He does, but I think Mo is one of those players who's better when he's not playing.
I
think we always think of him. Oh, Mo's great, isn't he? You know, but I'm unsure about Mo. Besides his problems with injuries and inconsistency, but he certainly is a lad who gets stuck in.
But that's what I'm saying. We haven't got anyone like that at the club, have we? Really?
Yeah, but the two players that for me, you know, Idrissa Gueye's been a steal, to be honest.
Outstanding.
And then you've got Barry for you know, obviously come for next to, well, I think it was Nottingham. So them two, but they were missing alternate games. You know, you had Idrissa Gueye missing. You know, we just looked all at sea, and then Barry's missing all at sea. But that's why I go back to the start of the season. You've got to know all this, and then you know you can't be waiting. And what have we got? There's no one there.
Is it square pegs round holes with the midfield though?
Well, that's what's been happening.
Because you've got, I mean, the shape is just abysmal. I think.
A quick one for you. The shape's supposed to be. You know, the shape seems to change with every.
Well, a quick one for you. What would you do with Ross Barkley? He's midfield, 3 substitutions, and he never got on. So what does that message from Koeman send out?
That really didn't bother me one bit Sunday. Because I think he's had enough chances to prove himself.
No, I'm not saying what I'd have done or whatever, but I think in Koeman's eyes, I don't think he fancies him. And
I don't.
And similar way you look at him, where you're going to play, because all the conversations I've had is, would you play him with Gueye in midfield? You know, say, you know, you're not a number 10, you're not going to play up there, you're going to sit in there, and that's what you're going to do. Because physically, as a midfield player, he's a modern day midfield player. You know, box to box and he can do everything. But again, his selection of pass and what he should do and shouldn't. And he's had enough chances at his age to start, you know, running the game. And he's not doing it.
Is there an argument that he's also a modern day centre forward because of the way centre forward? I mean, we don't have the archetype centre forward anymore. We have lots of players. Like, Dele Alli's always the comparison. I don't think Dele Alli's better than Ross Barkley. I just think Dele Alli knows his position. He plays off Harry Kane, and he just knows that position.
No, but it's runs and it's when to run, when not to run, hold your run.
Like Kale's wasn't the greatest footballer, but he just knew his job. So, and I think that's, I mean...
Yeah, but it's going back to the selection though.
Yeah.
Ped, you know, selection of pass, when to run, when not to run too early. You're offside. You know, Tim Cahill was great.
How old is Ross?
I thought he was fantastic.
23.
23
yesterday.
23 yesterday, yeah. Well, he's been around 7 years. So you know, I mean, 60 or not, you can't really count that, but I mean...
My big fear for Ross is, and this got pointed out to me, apparently, at the match, when the third sub came on, he covered his face and people went, was he upset? And I was like, well, if he is upset, then that's his biggest problem for me. If he gets upset because he didn't come on the pitch, then I think that's his biggest problem. Is he mentally strong enough to cope with the pressures?
Well, I think he is, but I think as well, Ped, he can say that, say he doesn't fancy me. You know, if you're thinking he's made 3 substitutions, Valencia as well, who looked lively, but you know, you'd sort of say Ross Barkley, if he can't get in front of Valencia.
Well, where would he have come on Sunday? Because obviously we needed Holgate not to be a right back. We needed another centre forward, and really we needed another winger on the pitch. So,
well, I still think the lad obviously that Rocco should have got sent off with a 2-foot tackle, and I still think Jones, the two of them are awful, and that's what I'm saying to you. Why didn't he just say to him? You know, I must say play up top with him, but I don't know why we wasn't really positive and said to Ross, just play off Lukaku. But again, we just let the game drift because obviously I looked at their team and I went through their team and I thought, you know, there's nothing there. And then you know, they ended up winning. I'm not saying they can't, but again, you know, last 10-15 minutes, you know, we throw the kitchen sink and it's, you know, we've got a point,
like
which is great. But if you analyse the 90 minutes and you just think to yourself, you know, when are we ever going to get out the traps, have a go at them, really get Goodison crowd on our side?
Let's go back to midfield.
Yeah, go on.
Let's go back to McCarthy.
No,
he's out. He's gone. Yeah,
just gone. I've no time for the man whatsoever. Gibson can go. But back to McCarthy, I just think his attitude stinks. Like Swansea played. And I don't know if he left the centre circle run. I don't know if he did. He just run. And he had this attitude like, I'm not really that bothered about playing in this match. And I can't understand why the manager can't see that.
All right, Cleverly.
No, I think I'll be honest, I've said loads of times, I like Cleverly, I think Sunday was the nail.
But left side, you see, we haven't got it. You know, he's not a left-sided player, and you're not going to say I'm not going to play there, but it's what I'm saying. Back to the start of the season, you know players, you think if he's out of form, if he's injured, if he's suspended, someone can come in.
How can you play Cleverly over before Davis?
Well, that's the question.
I mean, and seriously, that's not
the question, isn't it?
Well, my wife could answer that one.
But you wouldn't play Ross. I think a lot of Ross would have thought when Cleverly comes off, he'll just tweak it a bit, and Ross will get on. And I think that'll be what's upset him. He's just thought, I'm on my way out here. You know, he's been a blue all his life, and you think this could be big in the end. And I thought, when it gets to January, you might need your Ross Barkleys, and obviously over the next couple of weeks, you know, you can't upset the whole of the squad and come out and say, you're all going. But, you know, as Ped said over McCarthy, I think for a long, long time, just get him out, get what you can. Well, rumour is he'll be going back to Scotland to Celtic.
Let's talk about our wide boys now then. And wide boys mean those
literally wide boys.
Those who play on the wing. Lennon.
Well, another one. I think he's come back to his Tottenham form. I just think that's why Tottenham let him go. He had a purple patch of 4 or 5 games. So he's going to kick on. Well, on loan, and a bit like Nick Barmby. When he signed long-term contracts, it's over. But
to be fair, last season, second half of the season, I thought he did well. I mean, if he'd brought, and I go back to the semi-final at Manchester City in the cup.
Yeah.
He brought Kone on when he should have brought. If he brought Lennon on, I think he was still winning at the time. If he brought Lennon on and got some, but he brought Kone in, and the energy of the team just went to zero. And he kicked on at the end of the season. Now he's had a couple of chances the last few weeks. I think Southampton, he had something like 11 touches in the whole of the game. You're just not good enough, are you? If that's your level, you're not good enough.
Disappointing against Swansea because again, you know, poor team. But Taylor, I think he tried to run him once, and I thought, okay, he makes have to pace you then, but just mix your game up. Yeah. And he just went less and less, and I think he had a touch every 15 minutes. And he looks busy, but there's no end product. There's nothing there. And again, as a manager or a supporter, you're watching this and you're thinking, they're not good enough. And as I say, by the end of the season, you know, I think how long's he got though?
Who, Lennon?
He probably got 2 years less, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got...
Going back to the wingers, I mean, because something me and Baz have discussed is obviously the formation. We don't think it works. We just think we should go back to a 4-4-2. And I think it's very easy to go hiding in a 4-5-1 or a 4-3-3. Those wingers can just hide. But in a 4-4-2, and it showed it on Sunday, is you've got to work because it's very easy to be seen in a 4-4-2, but in a 4-5-1, you can run around a little bit and pretend to be busy.
But it simplifies it more as well. Where you know, full-backs know where the wingers are, wingers vice versa. You can well, that's the partnership. That's your P&R Baines. Yeah. That's your, you know. But it is. But again, in that formation,
what we're missing is Ozzy. I think we're missing someone with quick feet in midfield. I thought that the other day when he was at the dinner. I thought, and he still.
Why was he? Was he?
No, still.
No,
Was
he
he
still
running
looked
around
fit.
with a cup of tea?
Well, we had lamb, so he was.
Yeah,
you should have seen him with the mint
he
sauce.
Was going backwards and forwards,
he was quick. He was quick. He's very slow going the bar, but he's.
He's one of us.
Oh, he's a lovely kid.
He's one of us.
Different class. Sort of everything. But anyway, but last night, but the passion in his voice, the way we're talking, he's a player that still, and I never heard what he said to Carragher. He was supposed to be a bit of a
no, he apparently off air, he was celebrating the fact that Liverpool got beat.
Oh, is that what he was doing?
Carragher had said something like,
and why not?
If you put half as much effort into celebrating, then you might have won something, but that's their always answer to everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
although
all right, Morales.
Another massive disappointment. I say he was live here on Sunday, but you still don't know whether that's for January that he wants to get off. So he's been massively disappointed. The lad on his day, and between his head, if that's all right, he's top draw. He really is. But it's again, does he fancy it? Is it there for him? And you can't, especially in this Premier League, and it's a mad Premier League this year, is you can't carry people, and that's where we struggle. If we get a good form of 11 players on the pitch, okay, but if a couple are below par, it's just not happening. And Morales, as I keep saying, he's got a swagger about him, and he was unlucky not to score on Sunday. But you're thinking, again in your day, you're going, give us it again. I'll take him on again. And I've got this fella, no problem. But it just seems to be, well, I've done my bit for 10 minutes. It's up to you. You get on with it. And I just think, we go back to the old-fashioned days and whatever, but you don't have to go that far back. Over passion, desire. Don't have someone putting a finger at you at half-time. You haven't tried, you haven't had a kick.
You know what,